Here are the top stories for today, July 18, 2019. Filipinos attending a forum by indigenous leaders in California were dismayed as leftist militants disrupted what was meant to be a sober discussion. President Rodrigo Duterte said he has no intention to face the International Tribunal. President Duterte vowed to dedicate his last 3 years as chief executive in weeding out graft and corruption in the government. And the president said he may also give China its own fishing rights amid the country's assertion on the disputed West Philippine Sea.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Filipinos attending a forum by indigenous leaders in California were dismayed as leftist militants disrupted what was meant to be a sober discussion. On the other hand, they welcomed the stories of the IPs and expressed support for them over the militants. Miguel Hill has the story.
It was supposed to be a healthy dialogue between indigenous peoples leaders from Mindanao and Philams at the Philippine Consulate General Office in Los Angeles, California on July 15. The IP leaders were talking about the abuses, deception, and atrocities committed against them by the Communist Party of the Philippines and its armed wing, the New People's Army. Despite a clear reminder from Philippine Deputy Consul General Ambrosio Brian Enciso III for everyone to exercise civility, kindness, and openness, several LA-based militants made the scene before all 8 IP leaders could finish.
Stop woman killing! Stop woman schools! Never again martial law! Save woman schools! Stop woman killing! Stop woman schools!
5 alleged members of the militant Bayan USA stood up from separate seats from across the room, shouting anti-government chants and yelling at the IP leaders. In stark contrast, the 8 leaders silently watched consulate personnel send the militants outside the room.
There's a proper forum for this.
31 Lumon leaders have been killed! 31 Lumon leaders have been killed!
She was just elected by the people. I've been to Mindanao. They killed her. They're terrorists. You're the real terrorist. You're the real terrorist.
Okay, we are leaving.
Maki Fortu, a member of the Filipino-American community of Los Angeles, can't hide his disappointment over the disruption. He said there was nothing wrong with the IP's revelations and their interests are only the right to live and the right to self-determination. It turned out that the militants are the ones painting a picture of the IPs as villains. Despite the sincere message of the IP leaders, who are on speaking engagements across the U.S., Fortu said some people want to shoot the messenger, which is morally wrong. Fortu vowed to help educate others to be careful with donating to organizations in the Philippines. Meanwhile, 22-year-old John Carlo Arcena said there should be peace, positivity, and love among Filipinos who are all brothers and sisters. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
President Rodrigo Duterte said he has no intention to face the International Tribunal and he would only answer to the Philippine courts. More on this from Rom Dulfo.
President Duterte made it clear he will only be accountable to the Filipinos and not to any foreign body. He made this comment after the United Nations Human Rights Council, or UNHRC, adopted a resolution seeking to look into human rights violations during his anti-illegal drugs campaign.
Look, as I have told you before, ladies and gentlemen of the world, kasali ng all the government, I will only be tried or face a trial in a Philippine court presided by a Filipino. I will not answer a Caucasian asking question, a white man there. You must be stupid. Who are you? I am a Filipino. We have our courts here. You have to bring me somewhere else. I would not like that.
He says he does not see the need to face the international tribunal since Philippine courts were functioning. Moreover, he says the international tribunal had no idea about the real situation going on in the Philippines and that he is willing to lecture them on the finer points of international law.
I have my country, it's working. I know it's working. Justice is working here. You force me to defend myself before you. Who are you?
The president blames the opposition slate for itching to go to trial, saying he would love to debate with them anytime. He was also seriously considering cutting ties with Iceland after it sponsored a resolution to probe the country's drug war. He says the Nordic state does not share the Philippines' problem on illegal drugs. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfon.
PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar said the third and final installment of the forum leading to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's fourth State of the Nation address marks the stark changes made by the administration. Andanar, who moderated the Mindanao leg of the Tatak ng Pagbabago 2019 pre-SONA forum at the SMX Convention Center on July 17, said the government has introduced and welcomed change leading to an increase in the number of lives improved since Duterte came into office in 2016. He said the progress of our country in terms of policies and programs on climate risk management, disaster risk reduction, and sustainable development has been very admirable. Meanwhile, Department of National Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana presented the measures undertaken to ensure just and lasting peace in the country. This includes the AFP Modernization Program and the PNP Capability Enhancement Program. The pre-SONA forum was held to provide the public with detailed information on the accomplishments of the administration. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles opened the forum saying these SONA briefings represent an extended version of the President's State of the Nation address, a means by which people can take a closer look at the programs implemented by a government that recognizes its duty to inform the public about everything that the President and his administration is doing for and on their behalf to improve their lives. PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar said President Rodrigo Duterte's prepared speech for his fourth State of the Nation address is now 60 to 70% complete and will likely be completed over the weekend. Andanar said Duterte's speech will be about his legacy, starting with what he would be doing for the next 3 years. He said the president will likely discuss poverty alleviation, infrastructure, and peace and order, and that the president may reiterate his independent foreign policy, which is about being friends to all and enemies to none. He noted that the president, being a lawyer, knows what he is doing when it comes to the Philippines' bilateral relations with China. Duterte remains popular among Filipinos as he earlier scored 8 out of 10 trust and approval rate in the latest Pulse Asia survey. 85% of 1,200 adults said that they are satisfied with the president's performance. Guest for President Duterte's fourth State of the Nation address will be in for a unique experience as the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra, one of the renowned musical ensembles in the Asia-Pacific region, welcomed them at the House of Representatives. This will be the first time that a live symphony orchestra will be a part of the President's annual address before the joint session of Congress. Cultural Center of the Philippines President Arsenio Lizaso said some 65 musicians are preparing their rendition of several classic Filipino compositions to welcome current and former high government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, House members, senators, as well as their guests on July 22nd. He said this is an opportunity to give significance to art and promote nationalistic music to Filipinos. He said the Philharmonic's performance will be a realization of director Joyce Bernal's vision of a hopeful, lively, and grand mood during this year's SONA. Liz also said the Philharmonic will also perform pro bono for the SONA. Senate President Tito Soto has announced that 3 incoming senators will hold Senate committee chairmanships at the 18th Congress. More on this and other news around the Metro from Benj Mondok.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno on Wednesday warned the public to be vigilant when shopping for meat in line with the local government's anti-botcha campaign. The Manila Veterinary Inspection Board earlier confiscated about 532 kilograms of beef shank tagged as hot meat during a surprise inspection along Elcano Street in Divisoria, Manila. The inspection was conducted after a concerned citizen sent information about hot meat sold in the streets via social media. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeals turned down a plea for a temporary protection order sought by the National Union of People's Lawyers in its writ of amparo suit against the government. The court said it has found no basis to grant the TPO as the NUPL did not name those who will need protection from the court. The CA added that it has no authority to stop the military from speaking against them and that claims that they will all be neutralized despite participating in governments is speculative. Meanwhile, the government is set to come up with a suggested retail price for rice to stop the plummeting farm gate prices of local palay. This after market prices remain constant even as importers bring in large amounts of imported rice, which are still sold in regular prices. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol said the rice tariffication law, which was meant to lower the market price of rice, has loopholes that need to be addressed. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
The UN Human Rights Council seeks to investigate the human rights abuses done in the country's war on drugs. But Malacanang says the Council's judgment is unfair. Should the Philippines break away from this international body to prove its point? Let's find out in today's Boses ng Masa.
Hindi dapat kasi ayun ang tumutulong sa atin, yung mga Amerikano. Yun lang, saka talagang dapat hindi pwede. Yun ang yung isang tumutulong talaga sa ating sa Pilipinas.
Hindi po kasi pakikisa po yan sa buong bansa na rin. Para sa yung Pilipinas, pakikisama na sa ibang mga lahi.
Sa tingin ko po, wala naman po masama kung titiwalag po yung Pilipinas or makikialyado po sila. Kasi ang atin lang naman po is magkaroon lang tayo ng kumbaga katuwang or na protection kapag may kailangan tayo. Kung baga po sa kaibigan ay kailangan po din natin ng kaalyado, ganun po. Wala naman po siguro masama kung titiwalag po or hindi. Pero para po sa akin, mas mainam po na sana hindi. Kasi kahit paano po, may malaking naitutulong din naman po ang ibang bansa sa atin eh.
Sa tingin ko po hindi dahil mahalaga magkaroon ng pagkakaunawa sa isa't isang sa mga magkakasamang bansa na nasa UN po, na nagkasama sa UN.
Sa tingin ko sa ngayon, hindi pa pwedeng tumiwalag ang Pilipinas sa United Nations sapagkat ang Pilipinas ay sa third world country. Kailangan pa natin ng support galing sa ibang bansa. Hindi pa progresibo ang Pilipinas sa ngayon sa pagkakaalam ko dahil marami pang kailangan i-prove para sa Pilipinas. Kaya dapat hindi muna tumiwalag ang Pilipinas sa United Nations po.
Still to come, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is studying the possible production of 20 peso coins. And Tropical Storm Falcon left 2 persons dead. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Philippines is one of the dynamic developing Asian countries facing significant challenges due to rapid motorization and deteriorating public transport systems. Faces of the passengers from Malolos going all the way to Tutuban. They are frustrated, exhausted, face delays of everyday commute during rush hours. A lack of public transport system in the highly urbanized city like Manila, transport can cause a lot of problems due to people's day-to-day life. Without trains, people are forced to commute through bus or jeepneys longer due to heavy traffic congestion in Metro Manila. In order to promote inclusive growth and improve transport system within and outside Metro Manila, the Philippine government will build a north-south commuter railway project in addition to the existing commuter railways such as LRT-1, LRT-2, MRT line, and PNR line. The North-South Commuter Railway project aims to reconstruct and rehabilitate the Philippine National Railway to provide a safe, fast, and convenient railway transport system. The objective of the study is to formulate transportation infrastructure roadmap for sustainable development of Metro Manila and its surrounding areas, Region 3 and Region 4A. At present, Metro Manila is facing three major urban problems which are closely interrelated with each other. These are the traffic congestion, vulnerability to natural disasters, and lack of affordable housing. The proposed Dream Plan aims to achieve 5 no's for Mega Manila: no traffic congestion, no households living in high-hazard risk areas, no barrier for seamless mobility, no excessive transport cost burden for low-income groups, and no air pollution. Envisioned to have a route length of 89.7 kilometers, the North-South Commuter Railway project, the railway master plan encompassing the Luzon Island. The distance from Malolos to Tutuban is 67 kilometers. By taking the train, the fastest journey time going to Tutuban is 35 minutes at 64 kilometers per hour on average. By riding on a bus or jeepney, it will take almost 2 hours to reach Tutuban considering heavy traffic congestion on highways. The North-South Commuter Railway features an 8-car train that can accommodate to up to 2,238 persons. The air-conditioned train will be made up of lightweight stainless steel that runs up to a maximum of 120 kilometers per hour with a headway of 6 minutes in between trains. Faster transactions, more affordable operations, more efficient collection. Our transport solution makes this possible through an automatic fare collection or AFC. This will bring important benefits to the 1 million daily passengers using the rail lines, not only LRT Line 1, LRT Line 2, MRT 3, but also to the future NSCR. This AFC will remove the current inconvenience of buying separate tickets for separate lines. In the future, this automatic fare collection can service other transport modes, serve as an electronic micropayment solution in convenience stores, identifier for loyalty schemes, facility access, and location-based services.
President Rodrigo Duterte vowed to dedicate his last 3 years as chief executive in weeding out graft and corruption in the government. Rom Dulfo tells us more.
President Duterte vows to preserve the accomplishment of his administration since he assumed office midway of 2016. The president, who is known to have zero tolerance for people involved in corruption, also vows to continue the government's drive against illegal drugs and crime in the country. During his interview with Pastor Apollo Quiboloy early Wednesday morning in Davao City, he boasted that the drug situation in the country is quite low and therefore the crime rate decreased as well.
I'd like to maintain the momentum of graft. You know, Pastor, I will not live forever. But maybe as president, I have this, not everybody is given a chance to address to the people.
According to latest data from July 1, 2016 to February 28, 2019, at least 123,441 anti-drug operations were carried out by law enforcers, where about 5,281 drug personalities were killed and 176,021 were arrested.
What I promised was, if elected president, I would return the right of the citizens to use the streets, alleys, parks, and all, without fear. And I think I made my mark very clear.
In the same period, the government was able to dismantle a total of 309 drug dens and clandestine laboratories.
There are less drugs on the streets, but I intend to keep it low, if not eradicate all. That is one I would like to maintain.
For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Anti-Red Tape Authority says the business sector and even ordinary Filipinos can finally benefit from easier and faster transactions with the government with the help of the Ease of Doing Business law. The implementing rules and regulations of the Ease of Doing Business law was signed on Wednesday, July 17. According to Ernesto Perez, Deputy Director General of the Anti-Red Tape Authority, the IRR gives them the teeth to ensure that regulatory reforms are implemented. It also gives people time to speak out against corruption and unnecessary delays in government service. Republic Act 11032, or the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Services Act, was signed last May following the directive of President Rodrigo Duterte to ensure competitiveness and ease of doing business. The law provides for government agencies to complete simple transactions within 3 days, 7 days for complex transactions, and 20 days for highly technical transactions. Initial complaints could be sent through text messages, calls, Facebook Messenger, and Twitter. Validated cases would be filed with the Civil Service Commission, Office of the Ombudsman, and other appropriate courts. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is studying the possible production of 20 peso coins, which would be seen as cost-effective. BSP Senior Assistant Governor Dalia Luna said the 20 peso bill is the most used denomination among the banknotes because it is the smallest in terms of value. Cost and designs for this proposed coin denomination is still being studied. She said the proposed coin will probably be round like the other coins under the new generation currency. Luna pointed out that the need to recirculate the coin, since otherwise the central bank will not be able to save on the cost for minting coins. She said the 20 peso coins will be released either by the end of this year or in the first quarter of 2020. The National Irrigation Administration on Wednesday stopped the release of water from Pantabangan Dam due to rains brought by Tropical Storm Falcon. The NIA Upper Pampanga River Integrated Irrigation System, or UPRI, said cutting off the release for irrigation would be an opportunity to boost the dam's reserve. As of Wednesday morning, Pantabangan Dam's water level was at 188 meters above sea level. Its spilling is at 221. Water is released from Pantabangan to sustain the needs of rice farmers who are currently planting except during rains. Falcon left 2 persons dead when it made its landfall in Gataran, Cagayan on Wednesday, July 17. According to Cagayan Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, a man from Abulog town and another from Gataran died due to drowning during the onslaught of Falcon. In northern Luzon, the number of families affected caused by Tropical Storm Falcon in Region 2 and Cordillera Administrative Region, or CAR, has so far reached 87, or around 391 individuals. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council said around 18 families or 86 persons are being served inside and outside evacuation centers. And in Visayas, a total of 72 passengers were also reported stranded in the ports of Central and Western Visayas and Bicol, while 22 domestic flights were canceled due to inclement weather. The National Food Authority assures there is enough rice supply in Pangasinan. Meanwhile, a farmer from Negros Occidental is shortlisted for a National Agricultural Award. More on these and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
In Pangasinan, the National Food Authority on Tuesday assured that there is enough rice supply for the province in preparation for the wet season and the lean months. The NFA said 193,000 sacks of imported rice are now available in the markets and some 90 sacks in its warehouse. Consumers will still be able to buy NFA rice at 27 pesos per kilo, while its sale of imported rice is extended from August to September. In Negros Occidental, multi-awarded Negrense organic farmer Jesus Antonio Orbida has been chosen as one of the finalists in this year's National Organic Agriculture Achievers Awards. Orbida is an integrated and organic farmer who runs the Peace Pond Ecotourism Events and Learning Center. He said he is hoping that his achievement would encourage and teach more farmers to go organic. In Kidapawan City, slain broadcaster Eduardo Dizon was finally laid to rest on Wednesday. Dizon was shot dead by still unidentified gunmen on July 10 on his way home. The Special Investigation Task Group Dizon had already identified 3 persons of interest in Dizon's murder. He was reportedly threatened by a radio block timer endorsing the Kappa Ministry International. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, President Duterte said he may also give China its own fishing rights amid the country's assertion on the disputed West Philippine Sea. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Disaster mitigation technologies from Japan, such as seismic design method, is applied to the North-South Commuter Railway project to ensure the safety of railway structural facilities and passengers during major earthquakes, secure economical design, and provide aesthetic and slim cross-sections for structural components. The North-South Commuter Railway project, costing $2,619.4 million, is estimated to generate a total economic benefits of $47,929 million over a span of 35 years, or an economic IRR of 20.5%. From a financial perspective, the project is not only expected to be self-sustaining from fares, but it is also expected to generate a financial IRR of 9.4% in a span of 35 years. The North-South Commuter Railway project will also have a tremendous positive benefits of the environment by reducing the air pollution. Upon the start of the North-South Railway's operation in 2020, greenhouse gases from vehicles are expected to be reduced by 97,000 and up to 261,000 total bicarbonate per year by 2040. Given the rapidly growing traffic congestion in Manila and the increasing desire for live, work, and play communities, a transit-oriented development will be embarked in the Tutuban Station area. Passengers will soon be able to easily transfer on foot from the project to LRT Line 2 and vice versa, and new urban residential and commercial developments will be built within this 20-hectare historic property. The Tutuban Station area will see a widening of key roads in Dagupan Street and its surrounding, and a property development which will feature a multi-story commercial complex integrated with North-South Commuter Railway and LRT2, a public space with landmark facility and commercial complex surrounded by green space, and a mixed-use residential and commercial zone. The ground floor of the station will be utilized as jeepney boarding or alighting, and commercial area will contribute to mitigate the traffic congestion along Claro M. Recto Avenue, as well as to meet the demands of affected street vendors by the construction of LRT Line 2 station. Once North-South Commuter Railway project opens, greater opportunities open up to people. It would be more convenient and comfortable to students, employees, and businessmen to travel to Manila without hassles or delays, but also to easily access the burgeoning business and job opportunities in the country's capital. It will be the game changer. The North-South Commuter Railway project makes citizens more mobile. The North-South Commuter Railway project, building sustainable transport and better economy.
President Rodrigo Duterte said that although the Philippines will continue to assert sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea, it may also give China fishing rights. Duterte made this remark as he defended anew his October 2016 deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping to allow Chinese fishermen within Philippine waters as long as China will allow Filipinos to fish in the Panatag Shoal. In a TV interview with Pastor Apollo Kibuloy early Wednesday morning, Duterte said as far as he is concerned, he is the owner of the disputed sea and that he is only giving China its fishing rights. He adds that Filipino fishermen would be at the losing end if he will prevent Chinese from fishing within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Duterte stressed anew that the Philippines was no match against the Asian superpower and wondered why his critics and detractors wanted to impeach him for simply protecting Filipinos from possible armed conflict. He is blaming the Aquino administration for losing ownership of the Panatag Shoal.
Kasi tayo ang kawawa ngayon. Kung hindi tayo papasok doon, invoking fishing, traditional fishing rights, we cannot fish that. That is how constricted these guys are.
And in our foreign news, the death toll of Sunday's 7.2 magnitude quake in eastern Indonesia has risen to 6, with 51 others being injured. The quake struck off Indonesia's North Maluku province, with the epicenter located 62 kilometers northeast of Labuha and at the depth of 10 kilometers. National Disaster Management Authority spokesman Agus Wibowo on Wednesday said 5 of the casualties were hit by debris and falling blocks of concrete, and other was an old person who died while escaping. Nearly 1,000 houses were destroyed and almost 3,000 residents have been taking shelter in evacuation centers. Indonesia is prone to earthquakes as it sits on a vulnerable quake-impacted zone dubbed as the Pacific Ring of Fire. In 2018, Indonesia was hit by a total of 11,577 earthquakes, including several of them that caused serious casualties. And in sports, Talk and Text has clinched the top spot and a twice-to-beat advantage in the PBA Commissioner's Cup quarterfinals. The Katropa took down Magnolia Hotshots 98-83 on Wednesday night. Terrence Jones flirted with a triple-double with 26 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 blocks, and 1 steal to lead Talk and Text. The Katropa is set to face the number 8 seed in Alaska or Morocco in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, the Bolts earned its playoff against Alaska for the last quarterfinal spot after beating San Miguel Beer 95-91. Import Delroy James scored 34 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists to outplay his highly touted counterpart Chris McCullough and end Morocco's 5-game losing skid. McCullough finished with 27 points and 16 rebounds for San Miguel. Pagasa is monitoring a low-pressure area spotted off Sinait, Ilocos Sur. The Weather Bureau says the low-pressure area may develop into a tropical depression within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Falcon may exit the Philippine area of responsibility tonight. Moderate to heavy rains are still expected to continue in most parts of Luzon and parts of western Visayas due to the southwest monsoon. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. And here's another look at today's biggest stories.
Filipinos attending a forum by indigenous leaders in California were dismayed as leftist militants disrupted what was meant to be a sober discussion. President Rodrigo Duterte said he has no intention to face the International Tribunal. President Duterte vowed to dedicate his last 3 years as chief executive in weeding out graft and corruption in the government. And the president said he may also give China its own fishing rights amid the country's assertion on the disputed West Philippine Sea.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.